St. Louis this summer will make history in the musical world. I doubt if the promoters of this movement realize the tremendous force they are starting. It is already making St. Louis the most talked of city in America.
Since the first season the Municipal Opera opened, it has intended to be a theater unlike any other. The majestic space and the community-backed endeavor laid the foundation for this goal. The core intention centered around moments that couldn't be experienced anywhere else. In 1937, the Muny opened its season with the production of The Great Waltz. They provided everything that the recent Broadway hit did: elaborate sets, exquisite costumes, and unmatched talent. But Richard Berger, the new artistic director, wanted to create an experience for the people of St. Louis that they couldn't get even in New York. In the final climax of the finale, fireworks filled the night sky, in sync with the melodies of Johann Strauss. The Muny had set forth toward its new tagline, "Alone in its greatness."
Each successive summer after the inaugural season, the Municipal Opera's audience grew. After its first decade of shows, it was clear that this theater wasn't going anywhere. Mayor Henry Keel and the rest of the Muny board decided it was time to upgrade their space.
You know, when the Muny first opened, they put in that turntable in the 30s. It was the cutting-edge technology in the country. Nobody else had that.
The Muny brought in new artistic teams that transformed this outdoor regional theater into a Broadway-caliber venue. New lights, sets, costumes, and the largest outdoor turntable in the country were added. But the Muny knew it needed more than fancy bells and whistles to usher in a new chapter. If they were to mine the magic from this space in Forest Park, they needed to custom build each show for the theater.
It's really quite lucky and also part of the fabric of what works about the Muny is that we're all here together, which doesn't happen in most regional theaters, but we build the set and paint it, we make the costumes and fit them, we rehearse, we perform, everything happens right here on this big campus.
One of the things that's so powerful about the Muny, unlike any theater in this country, is that as an artist, designer, whatever, you walk through that back gate, right? And the first thing you see are the painters painting the sets and the builders building the sets. You don't see that in any other theater. And it immediately gives you a recentering of, oh, I'm a part of something. Here you get, we're all doing this together. And that's powerful. And that's also the civic idea.
With their new model of producing, the Muny began to create one-of-a-kind theatrical moments that were singular in their creation. A hot air balloon rose above the stage in the world premiere of Around the World in 80 Days. The St. Louis Hawks basketball team played an impromptu game in a production of Wish You Were Here. And a World War II plane flew over the audience during a production of South Pacific.
You know, and the look on a kid's face when they do the magic of Mary Poppins, or feels like 3 trillion people come on stage for Be Our Guest and Beauty and the Beast, or fireworks after a show. Like, that's something that people never forget. That combination, I think, is something that by sheer size and scale can only happen here.
It's singular. They used to have a phrase they used years ago called the Muny, alone in its greatness. You know, and it was certainly grandiose, but it was true. Alone in its greatness, and alone in its impact and its representation of what St. Louis was about culturally going back 105 years.
The Muny's one-of-a-kind moments stem from a deep understanding of how this space in Forest Park is unique. The technical elements help to provide surprise and excitement, but the magic created is something far bigger than anything man-made.
I also find it so unique that it's under stars, that it's in fresh air. It's hot and sweaty and it could rain, but there's something so grounded about being outside in a public park that feels collective, communal?
My artistic goal was, let's use what we've got. Let's use this full stage. Let's use the sky. Let's use the trees. Like everything that makes us special and different and unique, a little bit crazy, and tell our stories knowing this is who we are. And what I hope is that for every production that's on the stage, there's at least one moment for an audience member where they go, well, only here, only at the Muny.
To this day, the Muny continues to innovate and explore how to use the uniqueness of this theater in Forest Park and create one-of-a-kind moments. But it's not only the technical elements that make this theater unique. Far from it. It's the seamless transition between structure and nature that makes the space what it is. The beautiful dance between human beings and the natural world. We watch a dress blow in the breeze as the wind picks up. We narrow our focus as the sun sets beyond the stage. And we huddle together when the rain clouds form. And we connect with each other and listen as we're told a story under the stars. And that is what makes the Muny alone in its greatness.
So I think a perfect example of that in history is the national anthem.